Happening now, why Jamestown Public Schools has been ordered to change the district's Red Raider nickname or risk losing financial aid, and why a local development group tasked with distributing a big chunk of our American Rescue Plan money has violated a conflict of interest policy. Plus, March means St. Patrick's Day is just around the corner. A look at planning now underway for this year's festivities here locally.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up, but first, Jamestown Public Schools, they've been ordered to change the district's Red Raider nickname from New York State. The district's public relations department telling us the school administration recently attended a virtual meeting with New York State's Department of Education to discuss questionable nicknames and mascots. During this meeting, state education officials told the district that the Raiders branding could no longer be used here in New York and that schools who do not comply, they won't get their state funding. Jamestown Public Schools has 2 years to remove the branding, which includes replacing school uniforms, repainting the walls, replacing turf and flooring. So far, the state has not offered funding to assist in any way, so it looks like taxpayers will likely foot the bill. Last year, the School Board of Education approved a new mascot design, replacing the J with feathers imagery with a big red cat. However, at the time, the board voted to keep the Red Raider name. A young man accused of fatally shooting and killing a 57-year-old in the town of Ellicott last month has been formally indicted for murder. Chautauqua County's District Attorney Jason Schmidt announcing on Tuesday that Tucker Richard was indicted for second-degree murder in the shooting death of Scott Blake. The 18-year-old was first taken into custody following the Friday, January 6th shooting, which police say happened at 2256 Willard Street Extension at about 10 o'clock at night. Investigators previously said that Blake was found with a gunshot wound, deceased at the scene when first responders arrived. After a search warrant was obtained, they conducted a full forensic review of that residence. As a felony charge has been lodged against Richard, he sits in county jail with a $2.5 million cash bail and a $5 million property bond. As of Tuesday, he remained in custody. A Jamestown police officer was exposed to the deadly drug fentanyl during an arrest of a parolee on Monday. On Monday morning, Jose Cazares Jr. was pulled over by officers with Jamestown police in the area of East 6th Street and Prendergast Avenue. Now, due to the condition of his parole supervision, police and federal probation officers, they searched his vehicle, and that's when they said they recovered nearly 60 grams of fentanyl. Detectives assisted probation officers with a search of his Lakeview Avenue residence, where an additional quantity of fentanyl and around 60 grams of meth were also recovered. The 38-year-old Jamestown resident was then taken to city jail, and in transit, police say that he pulled a baggie of fentanyl out of an area secreted in his pants, and in an attempt to dispose it, it spread throughout the entire back of the vehicle, exposing him and the officer to this deadly drug. The officer was taken via ambulance to UPMC Hammett Hospital. He was treated by the emergency staff there, thankfully later released without any complications. The suspect now at Chautauqua County's jail as he awaits further federal charges from the DEA. Well, a Jamestown group tasked with distributing a big chunk of the city's American Rescue Plan Act funding may have violated their conflict of interest policy after approving funding to businesses connected to the corporation's own board members. Our Bronson Rasmussen following this. He joins us live in the newsroom with more on the local development corporation and really what the issue here is, Bronson.
Justin, as first reported by WRFA on Wednesday, the Jamestown Local Development Corporation appears to have violated their own bylaws, one that approved grants to a slew of local businesses, which are owned by family members of those on the committee's board. In mid-February, a $64,000 grant was allocated to It's Your Day wedding planning and a $15,000 grant to Jamestown Skate Products. The wedding planner's owner is the wife of JLDC board member and city councilman Jeffrey Russell, while the skate product company is owned by JLDC board member Pete Shira. Furthermore, a $9,500 grant was awarded to St. Luke's Church. The church's rector, Luke Forder, is also on the board.
Hearing no other questions or concerns, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Abstaining. One abstention.
While the three recused themselves from a vote on the allocations, the JLDC's bylaws strictly prohibit awarding funding to any body connected to or that has a relation to a standing board member. The agency has the authority to approve grants under $100,000. Any price tag above that amount goes to Jamestown City Council for a vote.
We look at the whole picture and evaluate each application based on what the real costs are for the project and what it is that they're going to do with that, what the potential benefits of the project are, the economic benefits to the whole community, to tax revenues, to sales tax, to job creation. All of those things are considerations in every single application.
In a separate issue this week, the council halted 3 other allocations as they questioned a possible favoritism by the board.
My concern is, are we really reaching enough of the businesses? And if they're telling me that's what they're doing and they're showing me that's what they're doing, we have to take faith in that is truly what is happening. But I think the public needs to hear that too.
Now, the Jamestown City Council plans on having a joint meeting with JLDC sometimes next month to review all of the projects that were held and possibly discuss the conflict of interests within the development corporation. Reporting live in the newsroom, Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
All right, Bronson, thank you very much. We'll, of course, continue to follow this and provide updates as it develops. Well, to northern Chautauqua County now, where the village of Fredonia water treatment plant, they're back in operation after a boil water order was issued for that village on Sunday. Disruptions in the disinfection treatment made the water unsafe for drinking. However, as of Tuesday, local leaders say they're able to get the chlorine levels leaving that plant from the water reservoir back into an acceptable range for distribution into their system. Bacteria testing also took place. It's going to continue today. It's anticipated that the water should pass the detection test. Once that happens, the county health department, we're told, will likely lift the boil water order. Now, this is not the first time that the village has experienced water problems in recent years. If you remember, back in fall 2020, a week-long boil order was issued following a routine check for cloudiness, which disinfected disease-causing organisms were found there in the water. Well, as WNY News Now continues this afternoon, an update on Damar Hamlin's recovery, the Buffalo Bill, who went into cardiac arrest on the field. And later, we're breaking down the push here to ban menthol cigarettes in New York State. Stay with us. WNY News Now. We'll be right back.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on Channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
Caitlin Armstrong has been quite the experience.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin has a few more doctor's visits before determining whether he could pursue his goal of finally returning to the football field after going into a cardiac arrest, having to be resuscitated on the field back in January. And providing an update at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis on Tuesday, Bills general manager Brendan Beane, he said Hamlin's end game is to resume playing as long as he receives the necessary medical clearance. Beane says all is well with Hamlin's test results after visiting numerous specialists around the country, with 2 or 3 more visits still scheduled, and that the Bills medical staff traveling with Hamlin to try to get a clear picture of the player's status, because the team would also have to provide clearance in allowing him to get back on the field too. Now, the second-year player, he spent nearly 10 days recovering in both Cincinnati and Buffalo hospitals before finally being released following his collapse earlier this year. Governor Kathy Hochul is proposing a ban on menthol cigarettes and an increase of cigarette tax in her budget. Our New York Capitol correspondent Elise Klein, she's breaking down the proposals and hearing from lawmakers about this issue.
Governor Hochul's budget proposes legislation to expand the state's ban of the sale of flavored vaping products and tobacco by now including menthol. Today, advocates from the American Cancer Society braved the winter weather to rally in support of the governor's plan.
Tobacco companies are continuing to make incredibly large profits off of the back of New Yorkers.
In 2023, the American Cancer Society estimates over 14,000 New Yorkers will be diagnosed with lung cancer. According to the Center for Disease Control, tobacco is the leading cause of cancer and cancer deaths. Some advocates from the convenience stores who sell tobacco products, also at the Capitol today, say they are concerned about the ban and the cigarette tax cutting into their revenue and potentially going out of business. Davoli says this argument is fear-mongering.
There's absolutely no evidence in any state around the country to show that if you get rid of these tobacco products, you're going to cause bodegas and grocery stores and stuff to go out of business.
The governor's budget proposal also includes a $1 increase of the state's cigarette tax, already among the highest in the country at $4.35. Some lawmakers say this is not enough. Assemblymember Linda Rosenthal says the cigarette tax should be increased by $1.34.
So it's so essential to deter people from picking up this bad habit.
In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
Elise, thank you. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, Governor Kathy Hochul announced additional resources which are available to help New Yorkers save on their home energy bills for the rest of the winter. According to Hochul's office, the second emergency benefit through the Home Energy Assistance Program is now available. The option is available for New Yorkers in danger of running out of heating fuel or having their utility service shut off. The amount a household receives from HEAP depends on your income, household size, and how the home is heated. In addition to the HEAP program, the state offers other emergency efficiency programs like the Home Energy Audits and Home Weatherization Assistance Initiative. Well, the United States intelligence community, they remain divided about the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic, with some reports suggesting the virus was caused by a lab leak, others saying it was caused by animals. Well, local experts that we spoke with say we might never know really for sure. Epidemiologist and Erie News Now contributor Dr. Becky Dawson says tracing viruses, it's hard but sometimes almost impossible. She says the finding COVID origins won't solve anything about how the pandemic is, but they're still useful because understanding the origin can help develop policies and prevent a future pandemic. But because of the way viruses spread and mature, finding a definitive beginning could take decades, even if one can ever be found.
It just takes one bat with one virus that jumps from bat to human to cause a pandemic. So, it's like finding a needle in a haystack, to be honest. So we have a really good idea of probably how it jumped from, an animal species to humans, but finding that definitive proof could take a lifetime.
Says the biggest lesson of all here is the need for better funding in preventative health services. She says the world spent trillions trying to manage a virus that better contaminated, and public health measures might be able to prevent this in the first place. Certainly, I know a lot of people, they want to get to the bottom of it, but certainly not easy. Coming up, our Washington, D.C. correspondent with an update on the Supreme Court hearing over student loan debt relief. And later, we have a preview of St. Paddy's Day festivities that are planned for Jamestown this month. But first, we come back with a full look at our weather forecast. Stay with us.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
So you think you can cook? Chefs test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine.
Davison's fish fry with some French fries.
Judged by a panel of local celebs, So You Think You Can Cook, produced by Channel 716, all proceeds raised to benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
Slow down, and move over.
Move over.
When you see signs,
Lights, vests.
please give us some room.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over.
When you need help,
It's our job
to help you,
to save you.
despite the danger.
This danger is real.
Do your part.
Please
Slow down.
Slow down.
And move over.
move over.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, Channel 716.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Currently in downtown Jamestown, we got mostly sunny skies out there. The current temperature is 41 degrees at the Jamestown Airport with a south wind of 13 miles per hour, and it feels like 34 out there. The almanac, yesterday we made it to a high of 40 degrees. The low was 27. The records for today, the record high was 63, set back in 1976, and the record low of negative 23, set back in 2015. Here's the NOAA 8 to 14 day temperature outlook that takes us through the middle of March, which favors below average temperatures across the Northeast and the Great Lakes. Actually, below average temperatures are projected for much of the month of March across much of the 48 states. So it looks like it might be a little chillier than average month of March as we head in over the next few weeks. Here's what's happening across the Northeast right now. We had a small system move through this morning that brought with it a couple rain showers, a couple wet snowflakes too, and a little wintry mix. A warm front is in the process of moving through the region. That's going to provide partly sunny skies to the rest of the afternoon, while again the temperature is close to 50, if not the mid-50s to upper 50s across portions of the southern tier. So let's time it out on future scan through the rest of the afternoon. Partly mostly sunny skies out there. That rain showers have moved out of the region, so the rest of the afternoon will feature partly mostly sunny skies. Another system will begin to move through the region later tonight, another weak system, so that might bring in a chance for a couple rain or wet snowflakes through early tomorrow, and then we'll do the same thing tomorrow as we did today. Mostly cloudy skies with some partial sunshine through the rest of the afternoon tomorrow and then into tomorrow night. And then Friday will start off mainly dry with cloudy skies before our next system moves through the region, and that next system is another winter storm. So let's show you what the projections are for this winter storm Friday. We'll start off with a period of wet snow through the afternoon hours, and then that will change over to a wintry mix of sleet and freezing rain, if not all rain, across the southwestern portion of western New York and northwestern Pennsylvania. And then eventually that turns back over to snow Friday night into early Saturday. So we might see some snowfall out of that and some light wintry mix of accumulation. So for the rest of the afternoon out there, we got through that scattered rain and snow shower this morning. The rest of the afternoon will feature partly to mostly sunny skies. Temperatures will range from the mid 40s to, if not the mid to upper 50s across the southern tier and northwestern Pennsylvania. And now the next 7 days from Ultimate Satellite Solutions. Again, we start the day off dry on Friday, and then that winter storm moves through the rest of the afternoon and evening. On Saturday, we start off with some mixed showers in the morning, some wet snowflakes, but high pressure will begin to build in through the rest of the afternoon, and that will keep us dry for the rest of the weekend with temperatures slightly above average.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. Well, let's get some headlines now from around the nation. And high levels of chemicals at Norfolk Southern train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio could pose long-term health risks. That's according to scientists from Texas's A&M and Carnegie Mellon University. They analyzed data of pollutants released by the train derailment from the environmental protection agencies. The measurements suggest that 9 of the dozen chemicals are higher than they normally would be found in that area. The scientists say if some levels remain high, it could be a problem for residents in terms of their long-term health. The highest levels were from a toxic chemical called arcolin, which is used to control plants, algae, rodents, and microorganisms. According to the CDC, it can cause inflammation and irritation of the skin, respiratory tract, and other membrane issues. The EPA and local government officials have repeatedly said that their tests show the air quality in the area is safe and the chemicals should dissipate. Well, on Tuesday, the U.S. Supreme Court, they heard arguments challenging President Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness plan. If granted, more than $400 billion in student loan debt would be wiped out. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp was outside of the Supreme Court and has more.
We have 45 million Americans, young people, drowning in student debt.
While the Supreme Court listened to the arguments over the legality of President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan, which would cancel up to $10,000 or $20,000 of student loan debt, people who were in favor of canceling the debt crowded outside the Supreme Court.
There is other people out there that is struggling with student debt, and it's impacting how they live every day.
Tatiana Sowell, who is finishing up her last year in college, worries she too will be faced with student loan debt. On average, the federal student loan debt is $37,000 according to online sources. Under the president's proposal, which is being challenged by several Republican-led states, would allow tens of millions of borrowers eligible for relief.
This decision can impact a lot of people, even people who are about to go to college or is looking into college.
While we didn't hear or see any people at the Supreme Court opposing the plan, concerns about canceling nearly $400 billion in student loans have been raised. Some worry it will have a negative impact on the economy. Others say it's an abuse of presidential authority. But for people here, they don't just want $10,000 or $20,000 canceled. They want all student debt canceled.
So number one is that it's an immoral issue. Number two is, we've been able to pause student loan debt payments for the last 3 years, and guess what? The sky hasn't fallen. So we can do this. And then the third thing is, why can corporations be bailed out when they are in debt? We should be able to do this for ourselves as Americans as well.
At the Supreme Court, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. We'll have to wait until summer to find out how the court will ultimately decide on this. Advisors to the Food and Drug Administration, they are recommending the agency approve the nation's first RSV vaccine. The shot from Pfizer is for people 60 and up. Pfizer says the single-dose shot can reduce the risk of illness from the respiratory virus called RSV by up to 86%. The next step is for the FDA to approve it, which can take several months, and then the CDC, they must recommend it before it can finally become available. Well, coming up next here, a look ahead at St. Patrick's Day festivities in Jamestown. Planning now underway.
WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
Police and other local law enforcement agencies are looking for the person responsible for a shooting.
One of the benefits of this new feature is it not only works with the newer parking meters that the city's been rolling out, but these traditional meters as well.
From muddy trails to slick cliff edges to structures that have fallen into disrepair, these are just some of the problems that this park faces.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this. You will find something.
You will find.
So you think you can cook? Chefs test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine.
Davison's fish fry with some French fries.
Judged by a panel of local celebs, So You Think You Can Cook, produced by Channel 716, all proceeds raised to benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Well, now you can hear me, I think. Right, there we go. As February comes to a close, we're looking ahead to continuing traditions of St. Patrick's Day and starting something new. Julia Gress has more.
Jamestown is one of only 3 cities in the U.S. that dyes a river green for St. Patrick's Day.
March 18th at the Riverwalk down by Jamla. We're going to help the city. The city does a phenomenal job anyway. Trying to enhance it a little bit with some kid activities and things like that. So the format will stay the same, the 10 to 12 format. Around 11 o'clock in the morning, they'll have music going at 10, and then Dan will have his guys starting to turn the river green with the dye that's safe and all that.
Patrick Smeraldo is planning fun activities for children, as well as a local business scavenger hunt. Any shop looking to participate is asked to contact him via email or on Facebook. A showcase with the Explosion All-Stars cheer group will also be held during St. Patty's Day weekend at the Northwest Arena.
Explosion Cheer and Sam Robinson and her group are going to take the arena over that day. It's going to be extremely professionally, spring floor over the ice, judges, music, the whole deal. We're going to track some teams and have a competition.
The showcase will run from 10 a.m. until around 4 p.m., depending on how many teams take part. Teams looking to register are asked to contact Samantha Robinson or Smeraldo before the event.
We actually have tons of vendors. We want the public to get involved, come and join us. You know, it is a fun show. It's not something that you normally see in this area. You know, you can go to a hockey game, you can go to a baseball game, but to come and see cheerleading and dancing for boys and girls from all ages is a huge opportunity, and we're excited to bring that to the town.
Recently, the group has added a cheer abilities team for special needs children to participate in the sport. Explosions has around 115 athletes ages 3 to 18. Admission for the event is $20 for adults, and ages 5 and under will be free. Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
All right, Julia, thank you very much. You just look at the talent of those kids there. It's so unbelievable. How just so carelessly flip it in the air like that. That is so awesome, and so much precision that they have too. It's really great to see that they'll be on display this St. Patrick's Day. Certainly one of the better, I think, events. There's so many awesome things when you think about Jamestown, but I don't know about you guys, but I think for me, St. Patrick's Day is a wonderful omen to spring, especially like last year. It was finally starting to warm up, and I guess with this winter we can't complain too much, can we? Well, that is going to do it for us today, of course. The news does continue 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com and in our free mobile app. You can download it today in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.